Hey everyone, Tony Winston here for Jazz Piano College, and we're working on Stride Piano Summit. I'm going to cover the song The Man I Love. It's this song. And it was written by George and Ira Gershwin. I'm going to, keep this really basic at first and just go over the chords and the melody. And of course, the chart is down there in the description, the one that you can see up here on the screen. And then I'm going to talk about how to make this into an arrangement for stride piano and cover some of the scales and a great climbing run. That's a run that kind of goes up the keyboard like that. And this is something I took directly from an Art Tatum transcription, not of this song, of a different song, but I used it here in this song. And also just a little bit of an insight into, how Art Tatum and some of the great keyboard players, great piano players from that era were thinking about harmony. Things like a sharp 11th chord, they would think of as a flat 5 chord. We're going to also look at a very interesting scale, the harmonic minor scale, which I think was much more commonly thought of back in the day, the 1940s, that era, than, say, something like the altered scale. It's very similar to the altered scale, but musicians of the day didn't think of things like sharp 11th chords. They would call that a flat 5 chord. And, they didn't have things like Lydian dominant scale and diminished scale and altered scale. They may have used them, but, the terminology hadn't been made up at that point. And a more common scale was the harmonic minor scale. And I'll show you how you use that. I'm going to talk a little bit about minor 6 chords and how they were used to kind of approximate the altered scale. So some interesting stuff in this video I hope you'll enjoy. But we're going to start out really basic. Here's the chords. It says E flat 6 9. I just play an E flat there because it's going from the 6 to that one. So, it's kind of the same chord, but you could play an E flat 6, I suppose. And then go to E flat minor 7th. That's an easy one to remember. And then here we're going to go to B flat minor. And, if you look back at George Gershwin's original arrangement, the bass is just going to work its way down chromatically. So that's why I'm putting the D flat on the bottom. And then going down again to C 7th, and that's in root position. We're going to go down once more, and this chart doesn't say A flat minor 6, but I've seen that in older charts. So A flat minor, and if you put the minor 6 in, and this is an inversion, A flat minor 6, I'm going to bring the A flat up here, and if I kept inverting this chord, I do end up with F minor 7 flat 5. You would say these chords are enharmonic. A flat minor 6 and F minor 7 flat 5 are really the same chord. And in this case, we're no matter what you call it, we're not going to have the root on the bottom. We're going to have a B on the bottom. So you can play it like this, or like that, or put it all together. And then B flat 7. It says 13 there, but that is the 13, so no need to, try to stick it in down there or anything. And let's just go back to the root here. And I think A flat major 7th is like the original and back to E flat. But I do like this turnaround. 3, 6, 2, 5 works pretty nicely. And also I'm going to show you, I'll get into this more later, but another way to do this is to take chords that sound like Fats Waller or Art Tatum, and both of those artists I just mentioned would have done that with one hand. Most people cannot reach those chords with one hand, especially with those notes in between. And if you listen to Art Tatum, sometimes he'll play 6 or 7 of those chords without anything in the right hand, And so there's no reason why we can't do the same thing with both hands. And I'll show you, I'll break that down for you in a little bit. Okay, then it looks like we go to another verse. Same thing. And here we're going to go to the 4 chord. Whenever you do that and it's a dominant chord like that, it's always got a little element of the blues there. And now we're going to go to a very common, bridge key, a key we go to in the bridge, C minor. It's the relative minor. And to get there, we'll do a 2, 5, 1. So we'll go like D minor, 7, flat 5, G7 to C minor. And let's see what the melody is. You can just stay on C minor there. So C minor 6th. I think C minor 7 sounds better. All right, D7. Now this has got to be some kind of an altered chord here. We got that flat 9 in there. You could put a flat 13 in as well. And then G7th with a sharp 9 there. It's the melody note, so even though the chord symbol says it, the chord symbol doesn't say it. It says play the flat 9. Maybe on that chord, G7, the very last one there, you could put the flat 9 in. And then C minor 7th again. A little reharm here like F7. And G major 7. And then change it to G dominant 7th. I'm already doing some reharm here. Now we're going to D7, but we could precede it with an A7. That's cycle of fifths. If you go up a 4th or down a 5th, you just think about D here. You're going to D, so A down to D would be cycle of fifths. So you can throw an A chord in real quick, and then get to the D. And now G7. Using some big open voicings here, Here's G flat. It says G flat 9, but that means G flat 7th. You could add a 9 to it, but any number bigger than a 7 really means the 7 plus whatever that number is. So G flat 7 with a 9, and then F minor 7. Well, they wrote F minor 9, but look, there's the melody note. That's the 9. So, and here's B flat a 7th. Okay, now this is the 13, and it clashes a little bit with the 5, so I'll take that out. And it says put a flat 9 in. That would be this. And I could maybe move the 3rd up like that and take it out down there. And that's, this is kind of how you can come up with good open voicings. Take your basic chord there and then thin it out, spread it around so the notes are spread out. They call them spread voicings. And then here's that spot where you could go. And then we do it again. Maybe we do it a little differently on the second verse. Let's talk about that great turnaround. First, we're going to re-harmonize here. Now, a substitute chord for a 1 chord, believe it or not, is you go a tritone and play a minor 7 flat 5. All right, still has, because has the root there on top if you want it there. And then you can just work your way down like this. All right, so that's A minor 7 or A minor 7 flat 5, A flat minor 7, G minor 7, F sharp minor 7, F minor 7, and then either go to B flat or E, the tritone substitution there and back there. But check out the way, and this isn't like a transcription or anything, but I've been listening to a lot of Art Tatum and Fats Waller lately, and this is the sound I'm hearing. Instead of going here, how about that? And it's suggesting a D flat chord, but it's not there. And then you could go, instead of this, you could go E flat. And then instead of this, you can do this, which is suggesting what? B7 maybe? And then F minor, and that's B flat 7. So these tenths can be very, they're just cool the way they kind of suggest chords. Anyway, here it is again. If you just want to steal it, I'll go really slowly. And E flat 6 there. I think I said the other day in a video that Art Tatum didn't use drop 2. I'm wrong about that. That's where you take like these 7th chords like this, and you take the second note from the top and drop it down an octave, so you end up with something like that. And of course, as soon as I put that up, I just started hearing him do it all over the place. So I'm wrong about that. He was pretty aware of that. And let's use a little here in the bridge. All right. So, usually you have a chord and then the diminished chord that kind of fits in between there and back to the same chord. And here I'm going to use a big fat altered A to get to my D chord. And I'm going to alter that one. And here I'm going to use the harmonic minor scale of C minor to get back to my C minor here. And see, I was on the dominant chord, and I'm going to C minor, and I used the C minor scale, the classical scale. And I'm telling you, if you start analyzing Art Tatum's runs and riffs and things, you'll find that is in there quite a bit. And very rarely will you hear something that's like purely an altered scale, like that. Or in G it would be the altered scale there, but that's more common, the harmonic minor scale. Now here it says G flat there, yeah. You could do something like, that's a little more modern harmony. One, two. That's the climbing run. And I did really take this right out of a book of Art Tatum arrangements. It was in a different key and in a different song, but I applied it to this song. And so I hit this for my F minor 7 flat 5. And this is like a 2-5-1 going to the B flat, back to E flat. So even here on the 2 chord, he's thinking about the 5 chord and the harmonic minor scale of E flat, the root key. So here's the harmonic minor scale. And if you look at the way he does the riff, 1, 2, and then he comes down with something like that. I'm not quite sure about the thing coming down there, but the climbing run is what I'm interested in. And you will notice that every note in that was part of the harmonic minor scale, E flat harmonic minor. See? There's that little minor third there. And then, see, that's part of it. That's part of it. And then up to here. And then there's that one again. And up to there. And then some chromatic notes. And then here, coming down, this would be a perfect place for the altered scale. But if you take a B minor 6 chord, that's a half step above your 5 chord here, B minor 6th, it's part of the altered scale. That's the altered scale. It's also part of the harmonic minor scale. This is how they thought back in the 40s. I'm convinced of it. Yeah, so he's really still using that same harmonic minor scale, but if you take a little piece of that harmonic minor scale, you see that it's got this note, it's got that note, and this note in the harmonic minor scale is a B minor 6 chord. There it is, B minor 6. It's part of that scale, and so we can use that either as a 2-finger run, like that, or maybe get 3 notes in there. And it goes very nicely back to that E flat. So, climbing runs, and the way I'm thinking of this in timing is 1, 2, and 3, 4, and so 1, 2. And those were just 16th notes there. Of course, Art Tatum would have done that about 16 times faster than that. So let me try to play a little bit of it here. Man, I love George Gershwin. Hope it was a fun video for you to watch. Hope you're all well, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.